I'm Travis Cummiskey, and we're here at Glen Pasture Farms in Tarantum, PEI. We raise beef, pork, and chicken. All of our animals we raise on pasture as the seasons allow. We do some rotational grazing, some bale grazing, and we even incorporate the non-ruminants into the pasture. So we raise red wattle pigs, which are a heritage breed of pig, they're native to Texas. We raise most of our growing stock on pasture, so they're outside from the time they're about 2 months old till they go in the spring. In the fall go in the fall, excuse me. In the fall we do kind of take them closer to home because it gets quite cold and there's quite a bit of snow around here. It's pretty hard to find them actually once we get too much snow down. And the chickens also, we raise 100% of our chickens on pasture as well. So from 3 weeks, they spend the first 3 weeks of their life in a trailer that we've turned into a barn, and after 3 weeks, we move them onto pasture, and they spend the rest of their lives in mobile pens that we move every day, and yeah, it's a good life, and we're proud to treat our animals this way. I chose to move towards pasture management because I read a lot about it when I was starting to farm, and it just kind of fit with what we did, what my father did and my grandfather did growing up. My father and grandfather were dairy farmers, and my father was one of the first farmers in this area to subdivide his pastures, and he remembers very vividly everyone telling him what a waste of wire that was. That you're gonna put a bunch of fences in the middle of your field, and but he was also the last, usually most falls, to take the cows off a pasture and start feeding silage. So anyway, I kind of grew up with that, seeing them, and eventually Dad started letting the cows outside to feed outside through the winter, and he would feed hay in the yard. And he noticed pretty quickly that the vet build basically disappeared. So, well, that was the end of keeping cows inside all winter. And so when I started the farm, my father kind of sat me down, my brother, and I was finishing school. I had no interest in farming, and Dad asked my brother and I if either of us wanted to milk cows. I had really no interest in milking cows, and neither did my brother. And anyway, so Dad said, well, I either have to invest in the farm or get out, and it doesn't make any sense to invest in the farm now just to sell it all, or to retire in 10 years and have no one taking it over. So anyway, my father made the decision at that time to sell the dairy cows and the quota. And anyway, when the dairy cows left, I kind of realized that, oh wait, this is familiar. I know what happens next. The auctioneer comes and they sell the equipment, and then the real estate agent comes and they sell the farm and the barns and the land. And I kind of been to some of those sales before. I didn't really like the thought of that. So anyway, I started thinking about ways that I could farm, and I worked at a restaurant at the time, Papa Joe's, and the chef Earl McKinnon, he was pretty passionate about providing as much local product as he can on his menu. And there was the most random assortment, ragtag primary producers that would come to the back door. And I remember being a teenager that would take these orders, and there'd be a farmer one day with chicken, and another farmer with vegetables the next, and a shellfisher, and you name it, they came to our back door. Anyway, and I kind of saw that, and I thought, well, these people are making a living doing this. There must be some market. And anyway, so I started raising chickens as kind of an experiment, and then I started raising them on pasture, as I've been reading about. And I was at a very small scale, but like you could see the run down the pasture where they were. Like it was the greenest spot of the pasture. After 2 weeks of recovery, it was 4 to 5 inches taller. It was thicker, and there was less weed pressure. It was all the beneficials that you'd want. There was no weeds, and it was all timothy or brome grass or legume. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat. Like, that's an improvement. And even my father at the time couldn't believe like how much work the chickens have done. And we've generally kept the chickens to one field, and like by far and away, it's been the best field. So that it does the best in drought. It does the best. It does the best in wet conditions. It's kind of been an interesting experiment. So anyway, once we added the chickens, I kind of thought there might be a niche in pastured pork. I knew there was a gentleman in Summerside that was raising it and selling it at the farmers market, but there didn't seem to be anyone in the Charlottetown area that was. And I grew up hearing about these red pigs from Texas that the neighbors used to have. And I know I wanted something that was a good mother and had a decent marbling, and that would do all right in a pasture setting, because I kind of thought, well, the chickens can do that. Well, I wonder what a pig can do outside. So anyway, about 7 years ago now, we brought in our first red wattles from Ontario, and we've been raising them ever since. I have 5 sows, and all the pigs are born. Little pigs are born here on the farm, and we raise them through to slaughter weight here. They are predominantly on pasture, again, as the climate allows.